Hi, it's Jo here from jojoevi.com and the Kaizen Revolution. And today I want to talk to you about homeschooling, and specifically homeschooling and running a business at the same time. There's quite a few homeschool mums out there, and it's a juggling act. Right, so we live in Japan. My son is bilingual, and we sent him to Yochien when he was 4, which is like the kindergarten. And the reason we sent him there was to get a grounding really in Japanese, because we'd raised him bilingually. His English was quite strong when he was a toddler, but his Japanese not so much. So he went to kindergarten, which, although I am a Montessorian, we didn't have a Montessori kindy nearby. So he went to a Shinto kindergarten, and that turned out to be really good. It was a great kindy. A lot of their ideas and philosophy fell in with the Montessori way as well, so that was all good. And then when he got to school age, we sent him to the local elementary school. Now, I did consider homeschooling from that point, but I can't teach him the things he needs to know about Japanese society and, living and working with Japanese people. And elementary school in Japan is quite focused on community building. So we thought that even though I'm not a fan of the system that they use for teaching, the focus on community building and that side of things we thought was important and something that he needed to learn. So off he went to elementary school, did his 6 years there. A lot of the time he was bored because they go at the speed of the slowest child, and he's one of the brightest kids, so he wasn't challenged. He would do his homework in class. It got to the point he never brought his homework home. And at I think 4th grade, his class teacher wouldn't let him do the homework in class, so he used to get up early in the morning and do the homework before he was actually assigned. Anyway, went through elementary school, all was fine, just a bit bored and frustrated that he wasn't moving along as quickly as he wanted to. So then it comes to junior high, and this is where I put my heels in, because I really didn't want him to go into the junior high system. So I was teaching English in Japan before he was born, and taught a lot of junior high kids. And the transition from when they go from elementary to junior high is enormous. And I'd have kids that were really bright and genki and full of life as they were elementary students. They get into junior high and it was like zombies, just like all the life sucked out of them. And that at the time was something that really didn't sit well with me. And the more I learnt about the Japanese system at junior high, especially junior high, the more I disliked it. It's very much the Victorian way of teaching as well. Teacher stands in front of the class. This is what you've got to do. Go ahead and do it. It's basically the system that you use to get you ready to work in a factory, or in this case, a salaryman. And I really don't want that for my child. So I knew my husband was going to be a bit kind of not against, reluctant to go down the homeschool route, mainly because it's not really a big thing in Japan. Homeschooling is often used for kids that drop out of school or are not fitting in at school for some reason, or being bullied. So there's kind of a stigma around homeschooling. So that was part of the reason why he was reluctant to go down that route. And my husband is a big researcher, so he went off and researched and researched and researched. And I will drop links about everything within the blog post, so you can find out more information if you're interested. So we decided at the end of elementary school that we weren't going to go into junior high, and homeschooling was the way forward. So part of me was totally relieved because I believed this was the right thing for our child. And part of me was like, oh my God, how am I going to get any work done? Because for the last 6 years, I have had the whole day to myself to do my work whichever way I wanted to do. And suddenly we're getting into homeschooling and I'm thinking, oh my God, how am I going to do all this? Anyway, calm down. There's three things I wanted to go over today. So first of all, we decided the best system for him was self-led learning. So this is kind of like Montessori's idea of following the child. We believe that he should follow his interests and he's going to learn more deeply and at a greater level if he does that. But we also believe that he needs to learn like the fundamentals. So what we decided on was to use an app called Study Sapori, which is in line with the Japanese junior high curriculum, but he can learn at his own pace. So what he did was calculate how many lessons he needs to do to finish the Study Sapori junior high grade 1 by the end of this year, by the end of 2018. So once he worked out how many lessons, then he worked out how many he needed to do each week to make sure that he'd be finished. So I think it's 8 lessons a week of the various different subjects that he's doing. So it's like 2 maths, 2 Japanese, history, social science, geography, whatever it is. And this is an app where he logs in, he watches the lesson, and there's a workbook to go with it, he can fill it in, and he can go at his own pace. So we're using that as the main core, if you like, as the curriculum. He doesn't really like the maths teacher in Study Sapori, so he will often go over to Khan Academy and study the subject over there and then fill the workbook in his Study Sapori workbook. And the other app we use is Jam, and that is more for his STEM activities. So there's lots of ideas on how to make stuff, and really just to get him moving and thinking about how to build and create things. So there are the 3 main apps that we use, and I'll link these up as well. And so the second thing, once we've got that out of the way, I don't really need to do anything. I'm not standing over him, I'm not making him study or anything. He knows what he's got to do, he can get on and do it. And he's very self-motivated, which really helps. But I also think that because he's put in charge of his own learning, he's going to be more self-motivated. I don't need to force maths down his throat or anything. And the other thing is English. So he has never done any kind of formal English lessons. We've always done project-based learning. So whatever it is that he's interested in, whether it's dinosaurs or bats or World War One, I would take that subject matter and put together bits and pieces to make a project or help him build a project on whatever it is he's interested in. So we're continuing with that, and he'll go off and research and then bring it together to make it into a project, whether it's a presentation or whether he's writing a paper or something like that. So that's how we're doing the English side of things, so we can keep a good balance. So being organised, so the second thing, this was kind of a big stress point for me because I was wondering how on earth I was going to get everything done. For those who don't know, I run my own business. I'm an entrepreneur. I help mums get organised and get their own businesses up and running. So one of the things that I've done from the offset, from when I first started my business, was to set it up in a way that I could be location independent. That was really important for me, thanks to the big earthquake that we had in 2011. and something that was totally flexible so that I could work wherever and whenever. I wasn't going to be tied down to a schedule. So those two things were really important when I was setting up my business and the type of business I was setting up. So really, I didn't have that much to panic about. I think it was just the thought that, you know, I was taking, say, 5 hours every day to get things done, and it's suddenly going to be reduced to, say, 3 hours a day. So being organised was a big thing, still is a big thing. So for him, at the end of the day, usually after he's had his dinner, he will write down what he's going to do the next day. So whether it's which subject he's going to study. And we usually watch a TED talk or some kind of educational, inspirational video or something. And anything else that he's planning to do for the day. So he'll make the list the night before so he knows what to do the next day. And I do the same thing. And this is something I teach in the Kaizen Revolution, is that you need to, it's using the Ivy League method of writing down what you're planning to do the next day so that you can just get on and do it. So we both do that in our own little way. And then the other thing we do is we have breakfast as our main meal, as a family meal, because my husband works late. So over breakfast, we'll discuss what we did the day before and what he studied, and he'll talk about what he did. And this is great because we can see if he's actually understanding what he's learning, and finding out basically what he's really interested in and, you know, what's lighting him up at the moment, sort of thing. And also Daddy can figure out what's going on and how our days are going. And the other thing is that with the study supplementary, my husband can log in and check how far along he's going and whether he's getting the answers correct and that sort of thing. So that has really helped, having an organised system. So I know a lot of homeschoolers like to just, you know, play it by ear and, you know, just do whatever flows. And then other people are really strict, you know, between this time and this time we study. But we're kind of in between, I think. He knows what it is that he's got to study or needs to study, but it's up to him to decide when he studies what and at what time. So he knows which lessons he's got to do within the week, but he decides when he's going to study them. So he'll just write the list, I'm going to do like maths and Japanese, but then on the day itself, he'll decide what time of day to do that. So together, we decided that in the mornings are our most productive times of the day. So that is the best time to get the lessons out of the way, the like core lessons, if you like, and for me to actually sit down and do my computer work. And then I'll flit in and out throughout the day. You know, I'll do a little bit here, a little bit there, edit some photos or whatever. And he will go and do something creative, do some painting, build something, go out and catch lizards, which is the latest thing, lizard mating. But, you know, whatever. And twice or three times a week we'll go down to the bouldering place and he does climbing. Good thing there is I can just take my laptop and I can get another couple of hours work in. And he also does Aikido on a Saturday and a Sunday. So everything's kind of like fit together a lot easier than I thought it was going to. I thought it would be far more difficult, but it all ran fairly easily. One good thing that's come out of it is that I've become far more productive. I think before he was at school, I had to be more productive because I didn't have as many hours in the day. So even though he's at kindergarten, the days are short and they're always having days off for this, that and the other. So I had to be far more productive. And then I kind of got lazy when he went to school and got into the slow flow of things. But now we're back on a tighter schedule. I've realised that I've become far more productive again, getting more done in a shorter amount of time. So that's a good thing. And the other thing is that I'm focusing a lot more on the big items that need to get done rather than fussing over little things. So generally, it's been an easy ride so far. In case anyone's interested on the Japan side of things, what we did was register at the City Hall and say that he wasn't going to go into junior high. We then had a phone call a couple of weeks before school started from the junior high, and my husband went in. They never even asked why we wanted to homeschool. They were just like, yeah, all right. He might need to go in once a term or once a semester and talk to the teacher. They asked whether we wanted all the textbooks, so we've got those. Don't think he really uses them. He uses the Study Sapere ones. And yeah, that was it. It was really, really easy, which after reading a lot of things on the internet, I was kind of surprised about, because I was expecting all these battles with the Board of Education. But I think this comes down to location and the different boards of education depending on your town. For us, it turned out to be really easy. So that's about it, really. I have been doing Facebook Lives over on Jojo Ebby Facebook page about our journey, so you can always pop over there and find out more. And if you are a mum and you've got kids at home, whether you're homeschooling or they're not yet ready for school, the Kaizen Revolution is all about building your business around your family and finding a business that fits with your family, because I feel that's really important. I don't believe in the whole life balance rubbish, because life's not like that at all. It's more ebbs and flows. And so I believe in building a business that fits around you and your family, and growing with them. So I'll drop the link for the Kaizen Revolution below as well. It's not open at the moment, but it might be when you're watching this, but you'll be able to find the link to get onto the VIP waiting list in case we're not open for registration. Right, if you've got any questions about this, I know there's a lot of people kind of following our journey because they're interested in doing the same. They've got smaller kids. So if you've got any questions, let me know, and I'll come back and answer you in the comments. All right, thank you for joining me.